Imagine planning your dream vacation, only to realize that in some countries, black travelers often face subtle barriers, extra scrutiny, or unwelcome treatment. Sadly, this continues in 2025 and may persist into 2026. Today, we're uncovering the real reasons why black tourists sometimes face discrimination, travel bans, or cold shoulders in certain countries, and why it's not always what you think. Stay until the end, because the truth might surprise you. First, let's set the stage. Many countries that seem unfriendly to black travelers have histories deeply rooted in colonialism, slavery, or long-standing ethnic tensions. These histories didn't just vanish, they shaped social structures, local perceptions, and cultural narratives over generations. Even today, remnants of these systems subtly influence how outsiders are perceived, often creating an invisible bias against black tourists. Modern mass tourism did not emerge in isolation. It developed alongside European and North American imperial and colonial networks from the late 19th century through the mid-20th century, which shaped who was seen as a typical tourist and who benefited economically. Colonizers established the transport routes, guidebooks, and picturesque narratives, as well as the institutional frameworks that transformed certain locations into destinations primarily for foreign, predominantly white, and often elite visitors. These early patterns of who is imagined as the typical tourist, who controls hotels and guides, and which cultural practices are commodified, have left enduring legacies that continue to shape how destinations are marketed, managed, and experienced today. Now let's look at how colonial power structures became tourism structures. Firstly, infrastructure and ownership. Colonial systems concentrated capital and control of hospitality, transport, and heritage interpretation in the hands of colonizers or linked elites. That produced tourism value chains that often excluded local or formerly colonized people from decision-making and high-value roles. Those ownership and management patterns can persist decades after political independence, reinforcing power imbalances in who benefits and who is visible to tourists. 2. Curated heritage and authorized narratives. Heritage sites, museums, and guided experiences were often designed to satisfy colonial audiences, presenting curated, simplified, often exoticized versions of local cultures that shaped what was considered authentic and who had the authority to tell the story. Contemporary destination branding sometimes still relies on those colonial framings. 3. The ideal tourist and racial hierarchies. From early travel literature to modern marketing, the normative image of the tourist has been racialized: the white, wealthy, mobile subject. The white tourist ideal historically informed ad imagery and service expectations. While not always enforced consciously, it continues to influence marketing and hospitality practices today. When marketing and product design are shaped around that ideal, travelers who don't fit it, including black tourists, may be rendered other or overlooked. Data from the Black Travel Alliance and MMGY Global The Black Traveler found that 54% of U.S. black leisure travelers say they are more likely to visit a destination if they see black representation in travel advertising. Black U.S. leisure travelers represented about 13.1% of the U.S. leisure travel market in 2019, spending approximately $109.4 billion US domestically. Yet despite this economic significance, many destination marketing organizations, DMOs, and travel brands have been slow to reflect this audience in their imagery. Now, how does these negative stereotypes like crime, poverty, and outsider status affect black tourists? 1. Stereotypes linking black people to crime, poverty, and outsider status. Research shows that many societies hold deeply entrenched associations between black people or people of African descent and things like poverty, criminality, or being outsiders in a social system. These stereotypes have roots in colonialism, slavery, racial segregation, and socioeconomic disadvantage, and they persist in subtle or overt ways today. For example, scholars note that racism in tourism includes assigning people negative characteristics based on their real or imaginary, thus depicting them as subordinate and using that subordination to legitimate discrimination and hostility toward them. In a tourism context, these stereotypes help create a mental tourist profile in host communities, The preferred visitor is seen as white, affluent, familiar, and safe. By contrast, black visitors may be mentally coded as less familiar, less affluent, or potentially risky. This predisposition influences behavior of hosts, service providers, and sometimes even local tourists. 2. Host perceptions and defensive caution in tourism settings. The perception that a black tourist might not fit the established visitor profile can lead to preemptive caution or avoidance by local hosts, service staff, or other tourists. For instance, research in the UK found that black and Asian travelers reported racial harassment, microaggressions, and discrimination, and that safety concerns and fear of racism guided their choice of destination. This means black tourists frequently have to navigate not only the travel logistics, but an additional expectation gap. Will I be welcomed? Will I feel trusted? Will I feel safe? That extra mental load is often invisible. 3. Service industry and hospitality impacts. The stereotypes affect how service providers react. In hospitality settings, hotels, restaurants, tours, black tourists may receive different treatment. Longer verification times, fewer amenities offered proactively, assumptions that they are less affluent or less accustomed to luxury or international travel. A systematic review of discrimination in hospitality and tourism services found that racism, ethnocentrism, lookism, and other biases are important sources of discrimination. 4. Psychological and behavioral consequences for black tourists. The anticipation or experience of being stereotyped influences how black travelers behave, choosing destinations where they believe they'll be more welcomed, avoiding certain accommodations or tour providers, being more cautious in public spaces, sometimes even altering dress or behavior to reduce standing out. The study on African American travel behavior indicated fear of racism. Emotionally, this adds stress, vigilance, and can reduce enjoyment of the travel experience. Some scholars relate this to racial battle fatigue. Traveler empowerment and strategies. Black travelers can prepare for trips by researching destinations through peer reviews, blogs, and black travel communities, which provide real insights into how travelers are treated. It's important to check for representation and inclusive practices in hotels, tours, and other services, as marketing that features only white travelers or lacks diversity may signal potential issues. Supporting black-owned businesses, from local guides and tours to accommodations and restaurants, enhances the travel experience while strengthening community representation. Documenting and sharing experiences on platforms like Green Book Global helps others and builds a broader knowledge base for safer, more inclusive travel. Several digital tools and apps assist black travelers, including Green Book Global, ABC Travel Green Book, and Eat Okra, among others. However, not all regions or services may be included, so multiple sources may be needed. These platforms also provide planning and safety tools. When choosing destinations and hospitality services, travelers should prioritize locations with visible black presence and inclusive reviews, confirm diversity and sensitivity training among staff, and seek out black-owned or black-friendly services. Safety planning, knowing your rights, and having contingency measures remain essential. Finally, sharing honest feedback, engaging with black travel communities, and connecting with fellow travelers at the destination help build collective knowledge and support more inclusive tourism globally. Travel is more than leisure. It reflects freedom of movement, social inclusion, and global citizenship. When black travelers face exclusion, microaggressions, or heightened scrutiny, it highlights broader issues of racial equity, systemic bias, and othering in global spaces. The rise of the black travel movement is reshaping these norms. Through content creation, social media, black-owned agencies, and community networks, black travelers are demanding representation, accountability, and structural change in the industry. This movement is both social and economic, emphasizing the significant spending power of black travelers while pushing destinations to move beyond tokenism. By sharing authentic experiences and highlighting inclusive destinations, the black travel movement is redefining who tourism serves and how the industry must respond, though substantial gaps remain in practice. To address this, destinations must implement structural reforms, enforce anti-discrimination policies, audit visa and hospitality practices for bias, and collect data on travelers' experiences. Real representation is essential, not just featuring Black faces, but integrating Black staff, businesses, and cultural input into tourism offerings. Products and experiences should reflect Black travelers' preferences, and service quality must be consistent and equitable. Accountability and transparency, including monitoring reviews and feedback, are critical, as is empowering travelers themselves through networks and community platforms to share experiences and highlight inclusive spaces. Ultimately, travel is about more than destinations. It's about belonging, recognition, and respect. When Black travelers are welcomed and their identities acknowledged, tourism fosters connection, empowerment, and representation, reshaping perceptions and demanding higher standards across the global travel industry. Now it's your turn. If you've ever faced discrimination while traveling or discovered a country that was unexpectedly welcoming, share your story in the comments. Let's build a community that raises awareness, supports each other, and celebrates safe, inclusive travel. If this video opened your eyes, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive.